Hello everybody, welcome to unit number 6. In unit number 6 we're going to be doing the introduction to pivot tables. Pivot tables are slightly different than tables because they are more interactive and we can work on a much faster way, more efficient, and of course we can get the statistics in a more clearer way without really trying to filter all the information and working with outdated information. So the first thing that we're going to do in this table, well, in this data, you're going to download your raw data, and then what I'm gonna do is very simple. I'm gonna select all the data. So I'm gonna go to Control Shift down and then to the right, select all the data. I'm gonna go to the Insert ribbon, and then on the group of tables, I'm gonna set table. So I'm gonna do a table. My table has headers. Yes, it has. So I'm gonna do that. So with that one, I already have a table. That works very well. And then already have it. So I'm going to start to work already with a pivot table. So this is just a table. You have to be careful with that. So for example, in this case, on the top, we can say table 3. I can rename it to maybe table 1. Okay, that will be much better. Okay, so I'm going to rename it as a table 1. And let's start by doing already our work. So in this case, we're going to create pivot tables out of that table. So let's see how the pivot tables work. So in this case, what I'm gonna do is insert, and then I'm gonna go to pivot table. So what's the difference between recommended pivot tables and pivot tables? When you have no idea what you're looking for, recommended pivot tables, it may give you a raw idea of what you can do. These recommended pivot tables are not very good because Excel sometimes doesn't identify the data well. Sometimes it does, sometimes it helps you a bit, but majority of the time it doesn't. So in this case, we're looking for something. So we're gonna click here, pivot table. So in this case, it asks you where select a table or range, what range of data I want to select. In this case, I want to use all the table 1. This one I can manually select what I want, but in this case already the system knows that I have the table 1. Second thing, ask you where you want to do it, in a new worksheet or an existing worksheet. Existing worksheet will be in this one, otherwise it will create a new one. So I want a new one because if I work in this one, it will be very messy. Okay, now in this one I click OK, and then what it does, it's already creates that one. Now in this one I have to name my sheets. In this one is raw data. This one I'm gonna call it, I'm gonna move it here, and then I'm gonna call it employee performance. Okay, why? Because in this case, in this Word document, we're talking about employee performance, right? Very good. So now in this case, what we're gonna do, the Excel is asked is that the Word is asking you to do an analysis of the employee with the highest revenue of the company. So in this case, what we're gonna do, putting first in the row section the salesperson. So in the row section, we're gonna put here the salesperson. Now, when you create a pivot table, what it does is lets you select from all the columns that we have. See, for example, here I have order ID, order date, so that's all the columns here, order date, order due. So if you selected them, then it should appear on your pivot table fields. So we have here that, and then we have the areas below, which is the filters, columns, rows, and values. Mostly we're going to be using rows and values. So for this one, we're going to look for the salesperson. Let's look for the salesperson. Okay, then this one I can drag it like this, row salesperson. And then the second thing, that is a highest revenue of the company. So which employee has the highest revenue of the company? Let's see, let's look for the revenue. That's gonna be the value that I'm looking for, but it's asking for it on a very specific way, right? In this case, wants it displayed in the USD. So first of all, before doing anything, what I'm gonna do in the sum of revenue, I'm gonna click it in value field settings, number format, and I'm gonna do it in the currency of dollars. Okay, and then with 2 decimals only, and I should do OK. Now in this case, what a pivot table is really working for is to save us a lot of time, because this one, if I put the sum of revenue, it's already adding all what Andrews and Cine sold. sold. In this case, for example, I can use this table and I can do it manually. I can cut Andrew Cecchini, all this row, control all this row, control. You see, I already got lost. And I can cut them and paste them and then do a sum of it, and that will take me forever. So that's precisely what this thing does. I can look at the sum of revenue, or I can look at the average of the sales that they sold. Here I can do count, I can do average, I can do max, mean, product, etc., etc. But for this one, let's not complicate and let's just do the sum of revenue. That's all. Okay. So now we see already the power of pivot tables, how powerful they are, because they save us a lot of time. So now the second thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna right click and we're gonna sort it from largest to smallest. Okay, be careful because some of you may click sum of revenue. No, you have to click it on the values. Okay, and there right click and then sort. If you click it here, you're gonna tell Professor, I click and I cannot sort, because you're not doing on the right place. You're gonna do it in on the numbers. Okay, and then it's gonna sort it, which is the highest, which is the lowest. Now pivot tables have this function that you can dig deeper and see what really is happening, right? I can go to my major table and look at the generals, but here I can look at the specifics. So I want to know what this Nancy Freehaffer is really doing, because I want to understand what she's really doing. So what I can do is I'm going to place my cursor on the number and I'm going to double click it very quickly. So it opens the whole detail of this $17,000. So you see it's going to create one new sheet on the bottom, but this is only, I can put it, I can already, like, for example, here put Nancy. Okay, so in this case I will just look at the performance of Nancy, and even I can create further pivot table out of this. Okay, so in this case I will be looking at what really Nancy is selling, what she's doing, and I can even create one more pivot table just out of Nancy. Okay, sounds like Inception. inside of the pivot table, another pivot table. But anyways, I'm just gonna delete this one because we don't need it now, because that's not what we're doing now. But anyways, that's how really pivot tables work. So in this case we already put them from the highest to the lowest, and then we're gonna insert a bar chart and then apply different colors to each bar. So let's go to this one. What we're gonna do is we're gonna insert, where we're gonna select the data first, and then we're gonna insert, and then here on the charts we're gonna put the chart. We're gonna do a bar chart. We already have the bar chart in there, and that works very well. And now for this one, what we're gonna have is we have to change the colors. So in this one we're gonna select this one. I can close this people chart fields for a little while, and then what I can do is here I'm gonna click this one, or I can click this one, and then I can charge I can put whether I want to see some other things in there. Okay, but anyways, what I'm gonna do in here is, for example, I'm gonna select this one, format data series, and in this one I'm gonna go right. It was a right click. Okay, just in case you got confused. Here I'm gonna do this one, then right click, format axis. I can do that. This one, format plot area, and then I can do the different ones. Okay, so this one I can put the format axis. I can go here and I can do different changes. Okay, now for this one, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select this one. I'm gonna select the bars, and it's gonna change. You see in this one it doesn't say anything, but when I choose this one in the field, it's gonna ask me if I wanna vary colors by points. I'm gonna tick that one, and you will see that now we have different colors according to each one of them. So we have Nancy Freehaffer has one color, and I can easily identify those ones, so I can see that. Okay, very good. So we're gonna close that one for now. If you want to go back to see the you see, for example, we had I got the field the field buttons. I want to see the field list because I want to change something on my pivot table, but I click it and now it's not there. So what you're gonna do is place yourself, click it whatever you want in the pivot table, and then on the pivot table what you're gonna do is you're gonna go to analyze, and then on the very right there's one that says show, and then you click field list, and then you can see it one more time. Okay, so that's how it works, and then we have it in there. Let's go to the next step. So in this case we have already different colors, and then now we have that one. We gonna calculate average sales per employee. Now in this one, what I'm gonna do here is, for example, I'm just gonna do average, and I'm gonna do also standard deviation. This one you can calculate it, but I want to calculate it over the whole group. Okay, standard deviation, and then positive and standard positive, and negative standard deviation. Okay, so in this one I'm just gonna do what I have done before, average. I'm just gonna do the average of these ones. Okay, then I can do the standard deviation of these ones too. And this one also I can change one more time this thing. Okay, let's change them. Then we have positive standard deviation, so we have the average plus standard deviation, and then we have equals the average minus one standard deviation. Okay, just do that because in the instructions in there, but if I open the document, open and close and close and close, it will be very complex. Okay, so in this case what I can do, I can also do insert, I can also do a table. Okay, my table has headers, no. Anyways, I'm gonna remove that one. I'm also remove banded rows, but I'm gonna put banded columns. Okay, that one was very quick, but anyways, I did it. Okay, so we have it in there. Now let's go back to our instructions and says we calculated the average, the standard deviation, positive standard deviation, negative standard deviation, who is an employee with a good performance and who are employees with good performance. If you are within one standard deviation, that means you're okay, you're somehow an average employee. If you are above that, that means you're a good employee because you're selling more than your colleagues, and if not, you're selling worse. And that's all. Let's do a little bit of conditional formatting. So what we can do is select all this data. Actually, in the instructions I didn't put that one, but that's a very good thing to do. So in this case, I'm gonna do in the home, in the styles, conditional formatting. So highlight sales rules, and then I'm gonna do between. So what I'm gonna do is between the values of between the lower one of the one standard deviation and the higher one of the other standard deviation. Okay, and then I'm gonna fill it with yellow. Why not? Okay, so in this case I can do it. I can also do a conditional formatting of highlighting cell rules greater than. So for example, greater than one positive standard deviation, I'm gonna put it in green. And in this one, I can also select, insert, conditional formatting, highlight cell rules less than this one, the negative standard deviation, and then with the red, I want to see who's in red. So now we have already the perfect picture out of it, right? So let's look at a little bit of the instructions. It says considering this one, who is an employee with good performance and who is an employee with poor performance. But Nancy Freehaffer is an employee with a perfect performance because she's selling over $5,000 over her colleagues. She's out of the norm, and then Robert Czar and Jan Kodas are not really performing very well. So now, in this case, again, I have to think as a manager. This is where the business statistics and the business experience comes together and say, oh, I'm gonna fire these two guys because they are useless. No, that's not what you do. What you do is try to figure out, guys, why these guys are not selling. That is where qualitative comes in, and they say, okay, ask them. Jan Kodas has been here for 15 days. He's not really performing very well, but Robert Czar has been here for 20 years and he's still not performing. Why? Well, maybe he has some problems with his family, or I don't know, or maybe he's demotivated and he doesn't want to work anymore. Previous years he was bestseller, but now he's not. So again, I'm gonna take a decision out of that. Okay. So in this case, like I said, what would you do as a manager? You have to look at statistics. You have to look at the quantitative, in terms of the statistics, and also you have to look at your employees as well in order to take a better managing decisions. Otherwise, you will keep just firing people every now and then if they don't perform, and I don't think that's really what a company is looking for. Yes, of course, you have to find ways to motivate them and see what's going on, but firing everyone just because they don't fulfill the goals is not really nice. So in this case, this is also asking, look closely at Nancy Freehaffer performance. What is she doing right? And uh, you can share with the company. So you have to figure out also what this woman is doing accurately. So in this case, what you can do, like I told you, you can just double click here. What I can do is see just the performance of Nancy Freehaffer. This cuts me a table of just Nancy. I'm gonna put just Nancy F. This F stands for Freehaffer, not for any other F, huh? So anyways, on this one, again, what I can do is insert another pivot table. Okay. Also, I want a new worksheet. Okay. Actually, I can just do it in the existing worksheet if I want it. If I want the location, I'm just gonna do it here. Okay. Okay, because this one is not too complex. So what I want to do, let's say for example, in terms of I don't know, I can look for many things in terms of, like, for example, the revenue. No, let's see, categories. Let's choose categories. Okay, categories and then revenue. So this one, for example, I can sort it by largest to smallest. Also the sum of the revenue. Also what I can do here is value field setting, then show values, sorry, number format. I have to do it in currency. Okay, then it's already sorted from the largest to smallest. So in this one, when you ask me, so what is she doing well? What she's really doing very well is selling a lot of beverages. So guys, if you want to be good sellers, try to focus a little bit more on beverages, sausages, and dairy products, because other categories don't sell that well, like for example baked goods or canned meat. Even though she tried well, then we cannot see that. Also, I can add some other things to see how many of those she sold. For example, I can see product categories. Category. I can do another category. Count of category. In this case, is counting how many of that category she sold. So she sold maybe only 4 pallets of beverages, and she did a lot of money. So employees, what you have to do is focusing on selling products that, even if you sell a little bit, it creates a lot of money. So for example, in this one, the pallet of sauces is only 1, and then still she sells $3,000 out of 1 pallet of sauces. So in this case, that works very, very, very well, right? So this is how I can do the analysis. So what is she doing right? She's selling the most effective products. Some products larger price, and then she sells very well. So in this one, of course, you can approach this in many ways. This is the way that I approach it now because it's just a quick one, but of course that one you can approach it in many different ways. Okay, so anyways, let's put it here because I want to move it. Okay, so I have raw data, employee performance, and Nancy free half if I just want to look at that. Okay, very good. So with that one, we have done the first one, and then we're gonna continue with some other ones in the following video.